Hello there. Once again, this is Anton from Anton Will Bay. Stopped into the comic book shop. I actually went looking for comics the other day when I was in El Paso. Haven't been there for a long time. My favorite store closed because the manager died, and that's very sad. Another store that I would usually like to go to was still in full-on COVID lockdown, and they won't even let you flip through the issues. They have like a store employee will do it for you. And since I didn't feel like having somebody else shop my comics for me, that left me just one store. So I went to Old Major Comics. The guy cut me a heck of a deal, and these are the books I got. Pit, I have a bunch of issues of Pit 1 still. So I was like, oh, Pit 2. I used to have like the full run, but I think I sold most of them, or all of them, probably all of them. But it was a really good looking cover, and the guy was basically just giving me stuff out of his bin. I walked up there with a stack of old Dick Tracy comic books, and he said, I'll do them $1 a piece. And I was like, okay. And then I brought up a pile of just randos from the bin. And he said, tell you what, are you paying card? I'll just do $5 for all of them. And so I got this big stack of comics for $5. I thought that was amazing. So I'm just gonna look at these. I still have all the Dick Tracy books. I'll probably do that in another video all by themselves because they're an interesting thing. But these are the random grab that I got from the bin while I was there looking for other stuff. And these Pit comics are pretty impressive. He just punched that guy's head straight off. That's awesome. Pit and Timmy. I used to have the Marvel Legendary Heroes Pit Build-A-Figure, which was one of the first figures I sold because it was worth a lot of money and I needed the money. It's all about needing the money, or when you don't need the money. Gen X. I thought it was Gen 13. Oh well, that's hot. Anyway, Pit number 2. Couldn't pass that up. So you could just say I got this whole stack for $2.50. So keep that in mind when you look at this stuff. Now I love Malibu and I love Protectors. So I snagged this book. I don't know if I already have it. Probably not. Protectors number 6, that's probably a little earlier than I have. I think my collection of Protectors starts at like 8 or 9. But I love Malibu comics and I love their Ultraverse stuff. I also just really like their non-Ultraverse stuff because they had a lot of interesting stuff. Weird. None of it is Comic Code Authority authorized, so they can be a little rougher. Not bad, but a little on the rougher side. And I like the art. They have a distinct look. You can usually tell by looking. You're like, is that an Image comic? Nope, not quite. It's somewhere between Image and DC, and they make this weird looking house art style, and it looks Malibu. Malibu has a look all its own, and I love that they do, and I like the look. So I pick up some of those obscure titles like that. Warriors of Plasm. I think I have a few of these, but I know I don't have all of them. So I was like, well, I don't know which ones I have, but for what this guy is charging for them, I'll grab them. Maybe I need them, maybe I don't. Who knows? They look kind of like Valiant stuff on the inside. That color palette, that looks pretty Valiant colors to me, but it is Defiant. The Good Guys. Jim Shooter. Isn't he everywhere in comics? He was like everywhere in comics at one point. Like everything was Jim Shooter. Looks like a bunch of weird art. Gross biological things. But interesting. One thing about these older books that I started doing is sometimes I'll just pick them up and yeah, I'll read the story or I'll give it a skim. But then I will go to like the bullpen page. I'll read the heck out of that. Some of that stuff, it's just interesting what was going on with the comic industry at the time. It's interesting what the creators of the comic book, where they felt the books were going, how popular they thought it was. And sometimes they have like really high hopes and like, oh man, our book is really taken off. And you're just like, oh, I wish, you know, excuse me. I wish I didn't know the future of your book and that you were going to get canceled after just a few issues and no one would ever hear from it and it would sit in the bottom of a quarter bin for the next 30 years. And what do we have? What do we have? Oh my goodness. That's a big old fold out thing. I'm not even sure which way is up. That's enormous. Interesting. That's kind of cool. You don't see those in comics very often. But yeah, so a lot of these books that were small publishing and didn't really go anywhere, it always makes me a little bit sad to read how, like, what high hopes everybody who was working on the book had. I'm just like, yeah, I hope you were happy with your work because it really was good. And just because it didn't take off, you know, doesn't mean it wasn't great. And like this stuff. Like Star Slayer, The Log of the Jolly Roger, these are PC comics. I understand this was not like a widely known, popular book. I've seen a lot of them, but that's because I dig for weird stuff. And it just, I hope whoever made this book just knows, like, you know what, your book still rules. And it doesn't matter if there's not that many people out there who remember it or love it. It was a good book. And there is still an audience out there that is reading your work, looking at it and appreciating it because it is. It's cool. In fact, let's take a look real quick at the front. 1982. Wowza. I would have been 1 year old when this comic book was printed and made. And here I am looking at it in the year 2023, fascinated by it, intrigued by it, entertained by it. And so are you, because you're out there watching a video of me flipping through it. So the world goes around strangely sometimes. But yeah, some of this stuff. Oh yeah. I don't know if you're familiar with this, but if you get the old, like the right age of comic book that's yellowed, it has a smell to it. And it is a pleasant smell. Some sort of earthy book smell. I love it. I've noticed this with Eagle Comics. Eagle Comics have this weird dark smell where I can almost picture like they were printed in hell. They have this weird sulfur scent on them. This just has like an old bookstore or library smell, and I love that. Old ink. It just has an odor to it that is memorable, and I like that. I noticed this smell with Eagle Comics when my brother and I, we bought a pack of comic books at a Ben Franklin's when we were very little for $1. And it had like 4 books or 5 books in there. And I know one of them was Nemesis the Warlock. One of them was Den, a copy of Den. I think it was Den number 3 or 4. And Babe Biker and Orson. And they all had this bizarre, like, home printed smell that I thought was fascinating. A little bit creepy, but fascinating. Motormouth and Kill Power. This is a Marvel comic, which, you know, I don't know why I bought that, but it just had a cool look to it. There were a bunch floating in there. I thought, you know, she's got a cool gun on the cover. I'll grab that, see what it's like. There was a bunch, but I only grabbed 1 issue. I wasn't looking to get into a Marvel series and see a bunch of familiar characters because I'm not really excited about Marvel so much these days. I'm pretty focused on, if I'm focused on anything, it's going to be weird indie stuff because I've sold so much Marvel stuff. Yeah. And see, Marvel, they're always advertising their better heroes and their obscure books. And I picked up another copy of X-Mutants, #1, Malibu. I know I just had one of these in a recent video, so I'm not gonna like spend a lot of time on it, but I love these. I love Yeah, everybody loves that page. I love Malibu Comics and I love X-Mutant, so yeah, I grabbed it because of this game that I played years and years ago. I grabbed this Turok Spring Break on the Lost Island. I had no idea what it was. I just saw it was a Turok book, and not that I love Turok or anything, but I do love me some dinosaurs in books, so I grabbed it. Thought, what the heck? See how that goes. Dun, dun, dun. I think I made the right call, especially since you could say this whole pile was, you know, $250 for all these books. I'd say this was a book worth grabbing. I like how that art looks. It almost looks Malibu, but I know it's not. Never played any of the games. I think there was games. Yeah, that's a game. That looks weird. Never played that. I don't know what's going on there. It's interesting. I don't know. Is this a one-shot or... Looks like a one-shot. Yep. Acclaim Comics, Valiant Heroes. Makes me wonder if it's Valiant. Yeah, well, Turok used to be Valiant Comics. Anyway, I can go to the back, and I'm back to the pit, so that means I've gone through all of them. And that's all I've got to say about my comics that I got. The guy cut me a heck of a deal. I'll have the Dick Tracy comics coming up in the next video if you're into those. Some of them look like reprints. Some of them look like different stuff. I didn't really get a good chance to look at them because they're still in bags. But thank you guys for watching. That was my little stack of books. And that's my story. I'll catch you guys later. Bye.